Hello all, welcome back to Learning Partner. If you are new, please do subscribe. This is another channel where you can directly connect with me. We have around 1000 plus members already who are working. We take live coding sessions and everything. To just get notified about those sessions, please do join this group. So welcome back to Angular 30 tutorials. Probably this is the basic version of Angular 20 tutorial. And in this video, till now we have completed the basic topic. We have completed a small project also. Now in the project, while completing the project, I didn't explain the project architecture, like how do we set up it, and so many things are there, right? Again, some things we have not seen till yet, but again, like those are needed. Okay. So now in this particular video, I'm going to explain how does project architecture get established, or how do we set up our Angular project so that like whenever we actually work on an industrial project or the enterprise level application, so what should be your folder structure, right? So that is nothing but we are going to discuss in this particular episode. Okay. So if you can see, these are the various things we are going to have. So in Angular, like core concepts are like component, directive, pipe, services, right? These are your core building blocks of your Angular application. So we will create a core folder. Inside the core folder, we will have a services, interceptor, guards, models, enums, again in shared folder. So shared folder will contain the things which we are going to use across all the component. Okay, so components, reusable component, reusable directives means custom directive, custom pipes, and a shared import. This is something new which will only work for a standalone component. And then we will have a pages folder, and according to the model, we will have respective component. Fine. So let's start and create this folder structure. But before that, we need to create a project also. So I'm just selecting Angular 20 folder over here. And here by using the command prompt, I'm going to create a new project. I don't need the copilot. Terminal. So we have to create the new project. So again, ng new, let's say Angular 20 project setup. This is the name I am giving. Fine. Enter. So with this, it will create us our project. Now from Angular 20, it is asking us one more question, like overall the project also you can disable the chain detection, right? You want the zone.js or you don't want. So we are simply going to say with no. Which CSS framework you need? You want to go with SASS less, so I'm going with CSS. Do you want a server-side rendering? You want to enable the SSR? So I'm saying no. Just the default project I'm creating. Fine. Let me just stop this process because I have node module already created. Let me quickly open the command prompt. Let me just pause it. So I have created a shortcut of my node module folder by using this command. So now you can see in the project setup, you got the node module folder, but we have opened the Angular 20 folder. Now we just want to open a specific folder. So let's open the particular folder again. Open folder, Angular 20, and this is the actual project. So this we need to open. Fine. So now we have opened the particular project. Now we have to do the folder structure implementation. Now in app, we have the whole our Angular project should be in our app folder. So first inside app folder, I will be creating a folder core. Then again inside app folder, I have to create a folder that is shared. Then again in app folder, I will create a folder that will be pages. So in pages, you will store the components which you are going to create the routes. Means the reusable component, you are not going to put it over here. In pages, you will create the component for which you are going to create the route. Like agar, let's say you have customer list, add customer, employee list, add employee, like that. The pages or the component which you are going to access by the route, those you will create over here. Let's say if we talk about school management application. Okay. So let's say in school management application, there are multiple modules. So again, you can categorize that. Let's say we have a teacher folder I'm creating. In again, one more folder I'm creating student. Just a basic idea I'm going. Now all the component related to students will go over here. So let's open a new terminal. Let's just create some dummy component. ng generate component student list. This is one component. Then second component, let's say student form. This is the second component in the student. Okay. So according, whenever we create a project, we divide our project into multiple module, right? Just to categorize it or just to divide the project. So just like that. So student consider our module. Then we have teacher module. So let's open terminal over here. ng generate component teacher list. Then let's say we have teacher form. feature detail might be there. Sorry. Okay. So in student folder, I have created two component. In teacher folder, I have created three component. So pages will contain the component which are going to be created with the routes. Means these are the component for which we are going to create the route. Fine. Now in core folder. So in core folder, we normally have the things which are not directly connected with the UI. It's just a code only. Fine. So the basic purpose of core folder is core folder should contain the things which are not directly connected with your UI. Fine. So first folder, services. Then second folder, constant. What we decide. Then we have interceptor. Now those who knows the previous Angular version also, so you know like in previously interceptor and guard were nothing but a service, but now those are arrow function, right? So we can previously we used to keep this interceptor in the service, but now we can move it back because these are now arrow function, right? So then we will have guards also. Then we will have model folder where we will create our class and the interface. So instead of model, let's make it again inside model folder. We will have a class folder and one more for the interface. Right? Because how either you can create a class or you can create the interface. So those are considered as a model. So in model folder, we have this. So constant, guard, interceptor, model, services, and one more thing is there like enums. So we can create enums also. So if you belong to the backend technology, either .NET or Java, so you are familiar with the enum, like what is enum? Again, it's not required that in every project enum will be used, but some project where very good architecture implementation is there, if that is a product, so obviously they will use the enum. So you should have the enum also. So these are the, again, so many folders can be there, but these are the minimum and required folders we can have in the core folder: constant, enum, guard, interceptor, model, services. Again, in the services, according to the module also, you can create the folder and inside that you will put your services. Fine. Now in shared folder, so shared folder will contain the things which are actually reusable. You are going to use that in a different component, and those have something to do with your actual DOM. So your reusable component. So reusable. So your reusable table, reusable card, reusable alert box, reusable show hide max length, right? So many things are there which you can convert into reusable components. So those you will create over here. Then you will have custom directives. Apart from the default directives we have got, we can create our custom directives also according to our requirement, that you will keep it over here. Then you can create custom pipes also. So those you will keep it over here. So in shared, normally we will have directives, pipes, and reusable component. Fine. So if you can see, these are the folder structure we are going to have. Core folder, pages folder, and the shared folder. Shared folder will maximum have directives, pipes, and the reusable component. Core folder will have constant, enum, guard, interceptor, models. In model, again, we will have class and interface and the services. And in pages folder, the actual component which you are going to create the routes, module-wise component. Fine. So this is the folder structure you are going to have. Now, let's just assume you want to do the API call integration. So what you do in your service, where is your service? Yeah, let's say we create any master service, or let's try an example of some API. Which API example we can say? Let's say car example, car rental application. So let's say this is your API, get car. Okay, so my basic folder structure is ready. Now I'm moving one step ahead now. So this is your URL. Now, whenever we work on a project, obviously API URL will be constant. Just your method name and your controller name will keep change when you actually work on the project, right? So this part will be common. So this part, instead of creating, like you will have multiple services. So in all the services, instead of keeping this URL, you can keep that into your environment folder. Okay. So up to Angular 15, by default environment folder was created over here when you create the project. But now from Angular 16, we don't have that created. So we have to create it by using the Angular CLI command. So environment folder I'm going to create. Let's open a new terminal. Ng generate environments, and make sure you add the long form only, environments. MENTS. Don't make the spelling mistake like me. So once it ng generate, I think again spelling mistake was there. Yeah. So see, ng generate environment. So it has what it has done. It has created two files, environment.ts and environment.development.ts. And it has updated the angular.json also. Because when you create the build, which build you are going to create, the dev build or the production build? Likewise, the environment file get replaced. So here it will add the entry for file replacement with environment.ts replaced with development.ts. Fine. Now, sorry. So environment.file is nothing but a constant file. Here, what you keep environment related thing, your API URL. Let's say you are using some email services and it is you are using from some different vendors or something. So environment related things, you keep it over here. It is just like a constant, but overall project related constant, and which is going to be differ according to the different environment. When we work on a project, we have QA environment, development environment, UAT environment, production environment, right? SIT, UAT, so many different environments are there. For all the different environment, we have different APIs, different some keys, right? So those detail you will store over here in the environment. Let's say our API URL for now. Here you will store your API URL. So let's say in development, you have this URL. This is, let's say, consider this is your development, sorry, production environment. And in while working on the local, you might be having something else. Just the domain will be different. So instead of free API, it will be miniprojectapis.com. So your production APIs are like this, and your develop, sorry, this will be your production. So consider this is your production API, and this will be your local dev environment, which we use for the testing. So for every environment, we will have different database. Obviously, API URL will be different. It will be hosted on a different server. So we will have different API. So your API URL will be over here. Now, in your service, so let's create a service. I'm just creating a ng generate service, or master name I'm giving. I'm just creating a sample example for master service because I wanted to explain this. So now in service, how do you do the API call? First, we need to inject our private HTTP colon HTTP client, correct? Then we have an API call. We have to do the API call to get all the car data, get all cars. Now this dot HTTP dot get. Now get needs the URL. Now API URL we have stored over here. So let's use it from there. Environments dot API URL plus. Then what do we need? So in API URL, in environment, you have stored up to API slash. Then what part is remaining? Car rental dot get car. So this will go over here like this. So your API will come from your environment folder and your method name will be over here. Again, one more step. Instead of keeping this over here, we keep this into our constant folder. So let's create a constant also. .ts. Again, export constant. Fine. So first, let's say controller name will be there. Again, one more thing. Whenever we create them, again, constant is nothing but key value pair data. So whenever we create the key, it should be always in a capital case because that's what we normally follow. So let's say controller, or let's say module underscore name. If it's a combination of two words, we separate it by underscore. So our module name will be car rental app. This normally it will be your controller name. Fine. Sorry, module name. Inside that, again, we will have a object car. And here we will have car rental app. So this will hold all the module name, car rental, master, drop down related something, booking. So many things will be there. Then we will have API methods. Again, inner object. Now here again, we will have car rental app. So this is our module name. So car rental. Then here, again inner object, get all car. Now here actually your API call method will be there. So this method name will go over here like that. Add car, some different method name like that. All the API related to this car rental, you will put it over here. Then let's say you have booking. Again, all the API method name related to booking will go over here like that. You will do it. Now you have the controller name over here. So instead of hard coding this, you will write constant dot module name dot car plus then here car name we got it from over here. Then we need the get car name. So that is also from the constant dot, sorry, API method name dot car rental dot get all car. So nothing is static now. Everything is coming from dynamic. So whenever we work on the project, we have some guideline to work on the project. Like we should not hard code anything. Everything should come from our constant file. Even in the constant file, you can keep our validation messages also. Validation message object, let's say required. Here you will have actually your message. This is okay. Now wherever you have the form and wherever you need to show the validation message, so your validation message is will come from over here. Instead of writing that text again and again in all the HTML file, your validation message will come from over here. Let's say you started the project. Initially, your client said, this is the validation message we need. Okay. And let's say you don't keep it in your constant and in everywhere you have that as hard coded. But let's say after some days, client said, instead of this is required, this is mandatory, we have to do. So what you need to do in every component, you have to go and change it. But if this is coming from a single place, you just have to change it over here. That's become your reusability also. Correct? So these are the things we do. Again, remaining things we just normally create model, interceptor, class, and everything, which I have already explained in the all the topics we have seen. Fine. So this is how we set up our Angular project. One extra thing. Now like in while working with Angular 20 or standalone component, let's say you are going to work with ng model you are going to use or a forms module. Let's say in every component you are going to need the forms module and the reactive form module. So what you normally do, let's say in student form, you import it, reactive form module, forms module, and in let's say your teacher form also you need these two module. Again, you will import it over here. Sorry. Right? Now, if you see this is getting repeated again and again, we have to do the import. So instead of doing this multiple time, what you can do in core folder, you will create a shared folder over here. Okay. Now in this shared folder, I will simply create my shared.ts. Over here, I'm going to create a constant export const shared module. It will have the array. Now what we are going to put it over here, reactive form module, forms module. Okay. Now this array has the modules, right? Now in your respective component, wherever you need these two modules, so instead of importing this, what you will do, you will just import your shared module. This array you will import over here. Let's add the import of it. Got it? So now your common shared module, whatever, like we have this, right? In every component, we need some common import again and again and again and again. So instead of importing that again and again, you can create an export array like this, and then you can use it over here. This looks easy. Instead of doing this same thing again and again. So now you have import your at a single place also by creating this shared module. This is only useful for your standalone component. Okay. So that's it. This is everything what I wanted to explain what things we should know when you create the actual working industry level project. Fine. I hope this series was helpful to you. This was the last episode of it because we completed a small project also and project setup also I have explained. One more series I will be creating, which will be covering just the advanced concept because interceptor, ng template, ng container, ng template outlet, so many things are there. Still, I have not covered reusable component. So many example we can see, dynamic component we can see. How do you create dynamic component by create component method? How do you create dynamic form? Let's say you have a JSON, and by using that JSON, your form should be created. So many things are there that I have not explained in this first series, but I will be completing that. But this series, I'm stopping it over here. Next series, because so many guys were asking for a Hindi, so I will try to at least 5 to 6 episode, whatever we have done it over here in, I don't know, 23 or 20 or 25 sessions might be there. So same thing I will be trying to cover in Hindi in 5 to 6 episode. Then I will start the advanced part. Okay. So that's it, guys. If you are following my videos and you are liking my content, please do like and subscribe. So that's it. Thank you.